Hello, 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 everyone. How's everyone doing today? Happy Fed Day. Good morning, Royal Palms. Good morning, Sterling. No problem with you not being there. We already know you get tied up with stuff. Work keeps getting in the way, though. I'm telling you, Sterling. Good morning, Patrick. What else do we have? Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Odie Green. So, how are we doing, everyone? We have Fed Day today. Other than that, markets, we had a little pullback yesterday, held the lows yesterday until the overnight session. Now I'll show you what I'm looking at today, but it's going to be some volatility this afternoon, especially the rate cuts priced in. Now, if they do 50, that will shock the markets, or if they don't cut, that'll shock the markets. So the decision is important from the fact that it's markets pricing in 25, but then the press conference will still be important because this is a dovish cut, which means, okay, we could cut two more times this year. Or is it more of a hawkish cut, which we're cutting and then we're going to be data dependent and see? So this afternoon is going to be very important, especially volatility wise. Good morning, David. Hello, Charles. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning, Tony. So, all right. We have the mortgage information coming out. Mortgage is dropping with the 10-year, although there is a potential bottoming pattern in the 10-year micro yield. Also, there are some topping patterns in place on some of the mega caps from minor to major, so we'll have to see how those play out. Again, it's going to be, I'm not as worried about today because you might get a snap gut reaction, especially if volatility drops with just, let's buy everything again. Tomorrow could be interesting on the or an overnight, and tomorrow could be interesting. What else? We had building permits and starts out. We have the EIA numbers for crude traders today. And then it's all based off the FOMC meeting today. So that's about it. Going into it, NVIDIA chips, China's not buying NVIDIA chips anymore. You have Uber down with the, what was it, the Lyft, Waymo partnership in Tennessee. Other than that, Tesla does have a minor potential 4-hour double top pattern. Amazon has a potential daily double top pattern. Meta has a potential weekly double top pattern. Those are why am I keeping an eye on those? Because if those were to trigger, if we get some mega cap topping patterns trigger, we could be seeing at least a short-term top in the market. Groups. Again, it's more of a risk-off day. Basic materials dropping. Gold is a slight pullback. 94% for the single cut, only 6% for a double cut. Fear and greed still in greed mode. Schiller PE. Did this refresh proper? 39.72. So not over 40 yet. We had General Mills, which was a beat, but dropping. General Mills, if you're looking for another thing, potential long-term, keep an eye. I'm looking for a potential weekly percent beat buys, or if it forms a daily stronger bottoming pattern. Looking for that, especially if it gets closer to the 87.5 level. I will be looking for that because it's still close to a 5% dividend, and it's getting dirt cheap. Cracker Barrel after the close. Tomorrow, nothing. Darden Restaurants and FactSet. So, good morning, Heinrich. How are you doing? So that's where we sit. Good morning, Ted. Where do we sit? Can we look at PDD, if I remember? So S&P. Oh, here's your General Mills. I still have that up. General Mills. Take a look at the weekly. All right. We've hit the 75 harmonic. We're dropping back below. We're slightly below a key support area. Especially if we get down to 87.5, I mean, this is getting insanely cheap. You can see the P to E 11.98 with a 5% dividend yield. And if we drop down to the 87.5, really getting, look where we were in 2019. I mean, so this could be another one for my sort of my dividend collector. It's not General Mills is not going away. General Mills is not going out of business. If we complete the 87.5 rule, it's something that I'm very interested in. So, might be something to put on your radar for a longer term play. It can get appreciation and, it can get capital appreciation and paying a nice 5% dividend, or it'll be more if it drops down there. So, just might be something that you want to investigate for yourself. All right. All right. Good morning, Anissa. Today, it's the breakdown again. I'm not, there's no great position before the Fed meeting. Key level I'm watching the upside is 66.75. To the downside is essentially the overnight lows right around 66. I'm going around 66.50. So 66.50 to 66.75 are my two key areas I'm looking at. We start breaking below 66.50 with momentum. I'm looking for the roll gap fill. We break above this, and we now, this is about the best we could do. We have to remember the next key major level higher is 68.77. Based off the minor pausing bar again, this, which will become only a 4-hour pausing bar, we have 67.54 to the upside if we really take off after the FOMC meeting. Other than that, if we fill the gap, the major support level is 6,600. The NASDAQ, keeping an eye on a 24,450 to the downside. We start breaking below that with momentum and watch for the gap fill. To the upside is 24,555. All right, we take out this based off of pausing bar from the last correction on the 4-hour, just to give me an idea of where, if we break out strongly to the upside, beyond this 24,700 is 24,850. That's the next minor level. It's not the strongest harmonic, but at least we get a 4-hour. And it could, if we were actually going to not have the Fed meeting, it would be a daily pausing bar, but it's definitely a 4-hour pausing bar. Yeah, General Mills, there you go, beat, beat. What's 3.17 sterling? Well, fat fingered which one? Dow to the upside on a breakout. The key level I'm watching is about 46,100. We pull back below there. It's the gap fill, roll gap fill to 45,921. To the upside, we have a major cluster just above 46,400. Russell, the good old Russell. Remember, it's gapping up on the roll, the contract roll. So the breakdown, especially below 2420, is for the gap fill and the rotation zone. The upside is around 2443 to about 2449. The VIX, again, elevated going into the Fed meeting. If this starts collapsing, we could see, again, some short-term buy stuff. But then, again, I'm looking at tomorrow. The DAX finally, yesterday, broke down, coming back to a key minor support level. But I'm still watching for rollover plays with the 200. A reconnection with the 200. Now, that being said, if after the Fed meeting we start taking off above 23,540, I will be patient. 10-year, we do have, this is the 10-year micro yield. We do have a potential bottoming pattern. It would need a daily close above 4.09. And if you look at it on the weekly, that could take us back to the weekly rotation zone. We also have last week's high would be a percent beat buy if we took out that this week. Okay, on a weekly basis. So that I'm keeping an eye on. If it breaks down, let me just put it that way. If it breaks down 3.96 to 3.97 is the next key level to the downside. Crude, remember I said if it got above this 64 level, I was watching this to be support. We're going in the EIA numbers. We've already had it become little minor support right here with a little reversal bar. So for me, stop below 63.84 area on a little bounce play. That's just a little minor bounce play because, again, 64.95, 64.96, and if it goes through there, 65.62 are the targets higher. That's just a scalpy pattern. Was just pointing that out because that's something I watch for with prior resistance. Little support test yesterday, and then it rallied up. Re-support test today. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on with crude. Gold, little minor pullback. We have the daily rotation zone. Could gold take off again with the Fed? Yes. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on there. So we'll be watching again. This could be setting up for a little percent B on a 4-hour basis, possibly. Dollar index coming down to a very key support level. So I'm looking for anything down here, especially if we trade down. We had a little minor double here, but it's already played out. I'm looking to see if it rotates back down ahead of the Fed meeting to form a possible 4-hour double down there. Other than that, if it does break below 95.91, next target is 95.20. Euro, strong move up yesterday. I forgot to flip these harmonics. Coming up to the next harmonic breakout level. 118.64. Where it just closed above that. If we take off again, 118.98. And then major level is 119.62. If we top out here, again, we had a little minor double here. It's already played out. Now this is a flagging pattern. So in the euro, I'm actually watching for a potential rotation up higher, but it's got to break this channeling flag pattern. Spiders, I'm just going to be keying off the futures. Key support is this 65.30. Right now, we're a little minor potential gap fill on the open, but if we roll over, really take out that 659.30 area, so the gap fill back to 657.41. To the upside, if we take out yesterday's high, 664.32 is the key harmonic. And again, that's where we sit. That's not the greatest harmonic because it's only based off the 4-hour right here. We should probably raise. I'm going to raise this because this is not going to take this out. So it'd be 655.14. The Qs, just paying attention to yesterday's low of 590.49. Below that would not be for the full gap fill. It would be to the gap open at 588.44 area if we take out yesterday's low. To the upside, we got to use a silly 4-hour. This will probably be a 4-hour pausing bar. That's all we have because of the strength of this market recently. So the upside, if it takes it out, 597 is the next minor harmonic. Other things, Tesla might never trigger 4-hour potential double top. That's what I'm keeping an eye on there. Might never trigger. Again, if it still goes higher, you have the 87.5 rule. That would not invalidate the 87.5 rule, by the way. What else? Amazon has this daily potential double top. Might never trigger again. Need to wait for triggers on these. And there's also a gap left behind just below that. So I'm keeping an eye on that. And what else? Meta. By the way, Meta on a weekly basis has a potential double top. Keeping an eye on that too. None of these might trigger. Just because they're potentials, they may not trigger. By the way, if Meta breaks out the upside, and also the invalidation point for that weekly double top is above 814.88. A trade above there takes that potential double top off the table. Good morning, Mark. Gotcha. Sterling stock was down 3.17. Where was that other one I was supposed to look at? PDD. PDD. Looks like it's poised for a nice potential breakout play. Very significant level right here. You can already see it right there. Close above about 131, looking to gap above there. So any pullback, I'd want it to hold support between that and the gap fill, which would be about 129.06. So here would be the support zone. On any pullback, other than that, easy first target for me on this, 144.76 for the gap fill left behind. This is a weekly chart, by the way. Here's your daily. You can see this daily. You can see the significance of this level. So you close above this 130, 134 level. You have a minor area too on a daily. So a stop raise 136 area. First target 144. Second target would be 153. PDD Holdings. That was brought to, that was just because Royal Palms asked if we could look to PDD, but that's a very nice setup. Again, no guarantees, but from a break and holding key support zones, and you see the targets, also nice weekly setup. That could be interesting. The only negative is weekly cycles at the top, so you could see some pressure and pulling back to the breakout level, but that wouldn't invalidate the trade at all. That would actually reinforce the trade. What else do we have? Lily, I see the 800 gap fill soon. There is that gap. You're correct with that gap fill, the official gap fill price. There's the 200 and away. If you're looking for something shorter term, is the above, making a base above this 770 area is very important. You got the 200 and away, and then if it gets above there, you have the gap fill. You have a lot. It's heading into a lot of overhead resistance. So again, it could be doing that. I'd be looking for a reaction and a pullback off the 200 and then building another base there. It is all about the discipline, dark screen. You do the probabilities, you do your stops, you do your reward to risk, and then you work with a consistent set of rules. Yes, open is becoming another stupid meme stock. I mean, it's out there. Oh, we're going to 80. All right. This company barely, it doesn't even make money on EPS yet. Its EPS is still negative. Its revenue, All right, there's stuff out there. We're going to 80. It's getting the pump. Okay? Open door. And 80 is absolutely ludicrous, by the way. This is coming back down. This will be back below $5 in just a matter of time. All right. So their business model, frankly, sucks. All right. So don't do stupid and chase this thing higher. If you're already in it, I'd be locking in some profits. Okay. By the way, the key level, it's just another friggin', these pump and dumps. See, it's back below $5 anyways. But you're going to see this thing just collapse back down. Vertical up, vertical down. So thanks for putting that up. Yeah, all-time high. Okay, yeah. Yep. No. This is a complete joke. You know, they're scrounging for reasons why it's going up right now. Mainly because it's getting pumped on the boards. All right. There's nothing much to talk about because, again, don't do stupid before the Fed meeting. If you're already long, just know where your stops are. Because that's all it is for, I mean, would I be getting long ahead of the Fed meeting? No, the time to get long was way before then. But that's it. Know where the stops are for your positions. And that's all I have for you today. We will be back tomorrow morning for the initial and continued jobless claims on Thursday. Let's just take a look at that again tomorrow. Oops, wrong one. Wrong one. Tomorrow we have initial and continued jobless claims, Philly Fed and Consumer Board leading index. But we'll be looking. I'm still going to be looking if we do bounce today for potential fallout tomorrow if we don't sustain a bounce. Okay. I wish you get to kind of sleep at night. Your dogs get during the live streams. I wish I could too. That's all Roscoe. Roscoe he's been on a diet too. He's actually losing some weight. He's on a very strict diet. But he's the big snorer. Roscoe is the dog that snores the most, and he's laying under my desk. So I wish I could get that kind of sleep too, although would not want sleep apnea. Like he sounds like he's got sleep apnea. With that, I shall talk to everyone later. Have a wonderful, wonderful Fed trading day. Bye for now.